We are actually in Normandy, and D-Day plus one. We're in Normandy, but the landing beaches were further up this way. I wanted to stop over as we were traveling our way to where the actual invasion beaches were to take a look at one of the things that became so critical right after the landings, about the on June 14th, when the first V1 rocket started landing around London. And what happened was the first launch uh, of the V1s on the 14th. There was actually, they tried on the 13th, and about 10 bombs, 13 bombs were lost, flying bombs. Did not go well at all. So they had to postpone for a few days, retool, and then they started sending them off to London. That caused a bit of a panic because all of a sudden these unmanned, unguided bombs were crashing around London, and soon after the V2s, to a significant consternation on this part of the Allies. Where after they started, they knew about they knew about the bombs, they knew about the flying bombs, they knew about the V2s, and all of a sudden they started happening. And later, when I finally get home, sorry, I'm live, so it's going to be a little bit bouncy. And see if I can actually turn the. You don't need to see look at me, so I'm going to try to turn the camera around here. And there you are. Now, hey, this is where I am. Now, no. I don't do this a lot, as you know. It has been a absolute nightmare of trying to find a place where I can do a live from, where we had reception, where we had not rain, shall we put it to not rain, because there's a hey everybody, there's a lot of that stuff. So now I'm just trying to get my phone to stop doing whatever it is it's doing. Nope. Never mind. There's a guard tower right there. And obviously, is the back to the road. Anyway, this is one of the little makeshifts. I don't know if it actually belongs here. The interesting thing about this site here, Normandy, is I have not been here. So I have absolutely no idea what we're going to see. And I figure, hell, we'll just see it together. Because, well, that's so much more fun. And now I'm just going to try to get rid of the thing I'm seeing here, which is I am seeing I'm looking at a look, and you all know I'm not doing this all the time. So we're just gonna, okay, I have no idea how to do that. That doesn't really matter, does it? I don't want to look at me. I want you guys to see this. All right, well, what the hell? So anyway, we figured we should stop by here, and when I get back stateside, and I'm so sorry I haven't had time to do a whole lot of live streams, and I have not had a whole lot of time doing, hey, Norway, you guys are all there. You just jumped on. And I haven't had any time to actually edit any of the, any episodes because it has just been a crazy, crazy trip this time. But, as I was saying, the Allies became really upset about this whole bombing thing. And they started bombing all the V1 and V2 sites. And this is one of the craters, because this site, as everyone else, was really heavily bombed. And what I was saying, when I get back to the States, and I actually sit down and start doing some editing and some reading and some research, there's an episode I really want to do for you guys about how the British handled the intelligence of the rockets, what came out of Peenemünde through the Polish resistance and others, because the term clusterfuck sort of comes to mind, because the British, they knew, and they had two separate entities that worked in the rocket research, counterintelligence, and they absolutely, one side swore the Germans were only going to be working in solid fuels like the V1 had, so only had a range about some 250 kilometers. And the other side, they said, no, the Germans are working on something much more sophisticated, and they have liquid fuel and so on. These two entities worked against each other, lobbied Churchill. It was complete infighting. So when the bombs all started landing, it was a nightmare. It's going to be an interesting episode. This is the assembly workshop. So the V1s would come here in parts and be assembled in different places. and then moved on to the launch site. Of course, this, just like everything else, was bombed. But this site was prepared already in 1943. And the first bombs, they flew not long after, they flew at Peenemünde not long after the war had begun. And sorry, I have a thing that's sitting here on my screen, and it drives me nuts because I can't get rid of it. But anyway, and you all know how much I just hate it when they lock doors for me. But you know what? Um, well, they did lock it, but however did they do that for? We'll see if we can shine the light in here. You don't need a lot of light. So, and here, well, there's some of the old fuel drums. But this is a cement reinforced regular little cement bunker. What we got? It's not even maybe a meter thick on the roof. Would not withstand a whole heck of a lot of stuff. And just the fact that there are windows in here, honestly, that's a bit surprising for a assembly shop. But then again, here's the result of what happens when heavy things hits it. You see how thin the roof actually was here. And that's one of the things. Now, we have been to Sierra today, where the V1 bunker is. That is an amazing place. I'm doing a special episode this year about the 4 main V sites here. Mimiec, Epelec, Sierra and La Coupole. And all of them are huge, amazingly large constructions. And they're all really, really bad ideas because mobile launchers were a real thing. So don't understand why they went all out for these enormous structures. But they did. And you see here, they have had over 100 some small V1 launch pads and bunkers. This, not very reinforced. Okay, this one at least is in the forest, which which you will so enjoy to see because the mayor came out and did an interview and he let me in because he's a really cool guy. And he wants to turn this into a museum. And you're all going to help me try to figure out how we're going to make this teeny little town with 300 inhabitants get this little town a museum that people can actually visit. Because it's an amazing place. And there are this family of V sites. But yeah, this was bombed nicely. It's not just a little bit pregnant. It's very. So here in the forest, you have at least. If you see anything interesting, let me know.
At least 6 sites.
So, oh wow. You know what? You're right. This is a little bit like we went to some of the Cold War missile bunkers or well, storage facilities. And it's interesting because the setup is not much different. Here you have this row of workshops with roads interlinking, slightly dispersed, but honestly, completely and utterly unreinforced. And I'm going to go with unreinforced because it wouldn't take much to break these. I'm still wondering why I'm seeing something there. So close to where you live. V2 Chris. So I'm guessing you are in England. Well, these we know from the Project Riese sites, the infamous bags of cement. This is really cool because they left these behind in the hundreds of thousands in Poland, and then they all got reinforced, then they all solidified, and then the locals caved them out. The good cement was inside, and then you have all these little round buildings in Poland of all the bags of cement, petrified cement. And here's another bomb crater right here. I'm not entirely sure what ordnance they dropped here, but here's a nice little hole next to this building. I'm the red brick definitely original. This could no this no this is original. This is all original construction. But you see how thin the roof is. They would bring up the parts for the V1s, put them together, and wheel them off. There's another one down there. But I am surprised they really. The supply shelter. There's a little bit like a miniature wolf's lair here in all these scattered buildings, just in a miniature setting. Because the generator set, the compressor groups, and a water pump in here, and apparently a very cool old train. You gotta love that they actually can leave these out here. We've seen those before as ammunition trains. Target bombing must have been the British. I tell you, when you see, and you will because I will show you, I'm getting a lot of the photos from Sirico. That building was 99, that village was 99% destroyed. You see the bombing craters. There's nothing. There's one building left, and C stuff and T stuff. Now, anybody want to explain to me what C stuff and T stuff is doing in relation to a V1 launch site? Come on, let's see how smart you guys are. You know that sounds a little fishy. And you also will now know that what do we not do with C stuff and T stuff? Yep, it's a fuel mixture, but it's a fuel mixture for the V2. And this is a V1 launch site, and what you really, really, really don't do is put C stuff and T stuff anywhere near each other. Even the one, if they fuel the V2 rocket, which apparently, I'm very surprised why, so say these products from peroxide hydrogen stored in here. Why is peroxide hydrogen stored here? They were not supposed to be firing V2 rockets here. No, well, you all know when you had to launch a V2 rocket, you had just like the Meteor, that little jet rocket. First you get the T stuff, and then you get the set stuff, and one fuel truck would not show up until the other fuel truck had left because it was so volatile. If the two ever mixed, it was, well, be rather catastrophic for anybody who would be sitting anywhere near it in Himmelfahrtskommando. So you wouldn't store it in the same bunker by a long shot. Water reservoir, which I don't see it covered with the water resistant tar that we usually see, which is a little surprising. Maintenance building. But now I'm surprised. Now I'm actually now I'm a little confused what they're actually doing here because it doesn't make sense. Water reserve, yes. Unless they actually did V2s here. Well, they could hide the depleted uranium. Well, I am in Normandy, so it wasn't that long before the Allies would overrun this site. My God, they actually put a fence up here. How dare they? The water pump station. All right, now I see why they put a fence up here. It's not for me, it's for children and dogs. And we went to some of the Project Risa sites on this trip as well. And there's a water bunker, not unlike this one, on top of one of the mountains. I found Risa sites that you guys had not seen because, well, I don't know if you've seen them, but I haven't shown them to you. So, so there's some stuff I'm going to show you this year that'll make up for me not really being on that much, chatting, talking for this month where I'm traveling. And one of them I'm going to show you that you're going to be absolutely thrilled about is tunnels underneath one of Hitler's first headquarters. None of you have seen those tunnels. And what's really cool is those tunnels are also were used by Reinhard Gehlen after the war. And now all your bells should be ringing. Damn well better. But I found them up in the mountains under a castle, huge tunnel system. And I have an invitation to go visit. I don't know how much of it they'll let me into. I'm shocked they said yes. So hopefully this year I can actually get to show you some of Hitler's the tunnels under Hitler's first headquarters. So we have remnants of something. This is where they don't actually put up much of a sign as to what it is. Just a nice sign telling me to stay away. Climbing on concrete. All right. Right. So they made a nice rudimentary road here. I'm guessing in here is the launch ramp. I'm guessing. I'm gonna follow the little path here. Oh, I see something big in there. There's some big bunkers in there. ME2C, Munich. No, I have not. Oh wow, look at this. Look at this crater. I wonder if that was a road slab up there. But crawling load though. Oh. So if you find me something here, I'll crawl through it. Okay. So anyway, I'll take a minute as I'm circling over to this big bunker over here. I know there's going to be a launch ramp they put up somewhere. It's been crap weather. We just went through Calais Peninsula. Rain as always. We stayed in this little place. You know, I just shoot and go, and we find a place that sort of whatever's close to where we're going. And I swear, my friend found. I can't have. Here's some V1. That's a really nice. One of my best friends is traveling with me for a bit of this journey, and I woke up this morning and I had breakfast at what looks like Goering's study, full of stuffed animals, shotguns on the walls, absolutely awesome. And the guy who was interpreting for the mayor was the son of the lady who owned the hotel. I'll put a picture up of that living room. That was just awesome. All right, so here we have I believe it's a German ironing board. Maybe not. And you all knew this thing was not fired from the launch ramp on its own power. It was shot off with a catapult. So there would have been steam, which explains why here is a steam pipe. Haha. I'm in France, and yes, it says in German what I'm not allowed to do. They have no more fun in Germany. They never laugh. Yeah, I know. So England is that way. So this will be the far end. I wonder if there was more than one ramp, which is possible. And yeah, and then the piston would shoot out of there and be. Do not tell own jokes in German. Well, hair jokes. Well, serious. I swear, John Cleese made Hitler funny. So now we can joke about the war, right? Just saying. So It's hard to tell if it's real or if it's a remake. I think it's a model, but I'll we'll go by the illusion. It is where it was at the time they started firing. And it's interesting. I always had a proclivity for the V1 because it was cheaper to make than the V2 by far. It killed a lot less people to build it than the V2, and they were. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just reading. So this is the observation fire control bunker. I don't think there were that many mishaps with the V1s as there were with the V2. It was a lot more complicated, a lot more complex, and well, obviously, well, since the door's open, it would be rude not to go in. And by that sense, the V1 was not a bad choice. It really wasn't. It just was an obsolete design. It was a flying bomb, and it's fairly close, but it should be safe enough because it would only be the piston that would be kicking off here, the steam. Little observation, pulse jet, yeah. And of course, at some point in time, they tried. They actually, Luftwaffe had volunteers work on piloting this stupid thing. Why don't I don't recognize what this is. Looks like a dumb bomb. Looks like a dumb bomb tall boy replica, isn't it? An equivalent weight used to test the catapult's capability. All right, okay. Yeah, the V2 weighed about 2 tons and change. The V1, sorry. So they would launch this up to the catapult and kick this thing off, just like you've seen on aircraft carriers, how they would kick off something to test the catapult. That makes perfect sense. Oh, what a cute little bunker. There could be a wine cellar in here. There you go, screenshot number 1. Anyway, sorry to jump on so suddenly, but we just I made promises to jump on last time. Where was that? I really thought I could get on the DAG factory. No reception whatsoever. So that didn't happen. But here everything seems to be working. This is nice. That means there's also a tunnel, because I've seen this in the 35 seconds I used to do hard, serious research for taking you all here. So we need to go on the field. This is cool. It's interesting how they built it in 3 different types. Magnetic bunker. An amagnetic building. The platform could be heated to combat dampness in the middle of the turning point at the center of graduate arc entrusted to the... What the hell is this thing? The Richthaus. Always good to see you. You've understood where you're not able to be. Yeah, I you guys get it. I know. I just, try to do something because it's just been some very, very long drives, very long days. Haven't had time to actually sit down and knock out and show you something. So I figure we'll do some lives when I can. A magnetic building. This I actually have never seen before. I would imagine that it being a magnetic would have something to do with the steering system. Do the compass, yeah, yeah. The V1 came on a wagon to the center of this platform. After mounting the wing, it was hung from a wooden porch and was placed in such a way that the adjustment mark situated the underside was coordinates with the central mark of the platform. Air pressure sent to the magnetic compass. Adjustment of the compass is guided in such a manner that it had no effect on the principal gyroscope. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is in order to calibrate, to set it for the course without having, yeah, without having anything magnetic have anything to do with affecting the steering component. That makes perfect sense. Which also, I am imagining, then means that there is no rebar in this building. And the launch ramp is right there at the end. So it will be wheeled from here to there. That's interesting. I know that there were mobile launchers, so that's why I'm surprised that it would need this setup for this. But an interesting building it is. Yeah, pairing the gyros, calibrating the rocket, yeah. And then there's some of the old rails sitting there. Yeah, there's no metal in this building. What a pretty place. What a pretty place it is. So all these storage bunkers are in the forest around here. So I wonder, I saw a tunnel. I saw a tunnel in a photo that I believe is here. I guess that's why they double layered, stacked the bricks, because they didn't put any rebar in it to hold. They couldn't because of the metal. Lots of wooden dowels and attachments for cabling. Um, Yeah, it's beautiful out here. Lots of mosquitoes. Yay. Yeah, there's absolutely no metal sticking out of these. What a nice little place. And I guess there was a sliding gate here as well, judging from that. Which also means that, no, it can't be. It couldn't have been, well, it must have been wood then. So those rails couldn't have been in the ground because that would defeat the whole purpose of this. Huh. All right, let's go on. I believe there's a curved bunker or shelter somewhere around here. Like I said, I haven't been here before. I just wanted to take you guys with me, and I'll just throw it out there and see what we find. Well, there's a very small mock-up of a tall boy. I think it looks like a very, very, very small mock-up, but there's a very large crater behind it. I just came back from doing the Mimiec, the V3 cannon site, where there was no houses or anything built afterwards. And you just see it's just like a cheese. Yeah, this is a tall boy crater. 78 years after the fact. But you see this in some of the heavy soil around Mimiec and some of these places. In Syriancourt, you can't see it much because, well, the city was rebuilt after the war. In a very interesting way, too, which we will cover. Sorry, I'm not catching up on the reading because I'm also walking. But so I hope you guys are all doing okay out there. D-Day +1. This was about the time when it really dawned on the German high command that the Allies were actually serious. The invasion that everybody knew was coming on all sides. And, well, shock and surprise when it did, to no one, really. I guess today is also the day where we should wish the former or the late Mrs. Rommel a happy birthday. Because I believe today was Mrs. Rommel's birthday. And interestingly enough, we're not staying that far away from Dieppe, and we all know how Dieppe went. And I think there's a good possibility that I should see if I can find some remnants. There's probably a museum, something local there. There it is. Um, so maybe I'll pop by tomorrow, look at the Dieppe landings. Okay, there is a Lagerbunker for a ski-shaped shelter. Why? Following the bombardment, these 3 shelters remained unfinished. Okay, with a length of 80 meters by 4.3. Shape of a ski in order to deviate left from the bunk. Okay, well, let's go take a look at the unfinished shelters. Since the mosquitoes haven't got me yet. Crystal, are you here? Lady Blah Blah, are you here? Ed, are you here? I'm just... Radio show, machine show, are you there? I know I just didn't warn any of you. I just did it. I'm just wondering if any of you guys are here. Otherwise, you will wake up to this. I guess it's really early in the States right now. Lady Blah Blah should be awake by now. Ooh, look at this. There's another crater. It's a little bit World War One-ish. And you know that I'm going to go see Roger soon. And not only that, Roger and I are going to go through Hitler's Paris headquarters. That's going to be fun. Yes. Oh, there you are. Wait a minute, why can't I see who's writing? Okay, so, all right, so here's one of the shelters. The beginning of their ski-shaped shelter, which is unfinished, which I understand the concept of being unfinished because there's no roof. So that makes perfect sense. Well, well, well. To deviate the blast, you have one... It's really a soft turn. I'm just saying, maybe an angle, a hard angle with a vent would have been a little better. But we're back to all these V sites. We're just so... The mobile launchers for V2, that was the way to go. Kamla knew that, everybody knew that. And it's always been said that, well, Hitler wanted these big constructions, and I don't know if we can blame that on him or who, exactly how, and we came around doing that, because I think by the time they have these massive constructions, everybody knew it was a bad idea. So that was one. And especially because they were such obvious targets. It was just a bad idea to build these giant things. Unless there's some other reason why they built them. So that was one. Where's the other two? Well, that's the road, so they're not up there. And here's a large crater again. Maybe it is next to us. Nope. I know there's somewhere here in France, there's one of these ski-shaped, yeah, we'll call it that, shelters that's intact. Just don't know if it is here. I hear a voice. Yes? No? No. Huh. All right then. Well, in that case, this is a fairly small complex, which in a forest would be a little hard to target and to hit, because there's pretty much only the infrastructure that we have walked through. But this is number 2. Just gonna go back through, see if we can find number 1. Invitation for Bomber Harris. You know, I don't believe Bomber Harris needed invitations. He just showed up again and again, every day and night. Well, I guess he showed up every night to begin with. I met somebody who spoke with Bomber Harris, and he didn't come off as what we have imagined him After what the bombing he caused and the carnage he caused, he didn't come off as the crazy guy who wanted to do what he ended up doing. It was just the only way they thought they could end the war. But, you know, it was a world war, and it's not a fun time or place. Well, if that was one, I wonder maybe there was one in here on the side that magically dissolved itself by the use of modern explosives. It's possible. This could also, no, this is just a path. There's a path to it. Where I'm now wondering if this was the path to the rocket. This tree is quite a bit older than 75 years. So somewhere the path must have gone around it, because that didn't sprout itself lately. Huh. Well, most likely. So we had little mini rails that ran throughout here. And well, I guess this was it. At some point in time, I will actually film this and do a proper episode and tell you about it when I had more chance to do some research. But what a pretty little place here in Normandy for V1s. And over the next couple of days, I'm going to see if I'm going to go to Normandy, and we're going to go down to the beaches and take a look. Mostly because I really think I should, considering my new movie is premiering on June 14th. Yes, this is the part of the program where I get to blow my own horn. Did a little war movie. I didn't like any of the other ones I did. Don't like this one either because I'm in it. Anyway, did a little war movie called Iron Cross to Normandy, The Road to Normandy, and it's premiering on the 14th. And I figured the least thing I can damn well do is to go to the Normandy beaches and talk about D-Day and talk about what happened there. So these are the fuel tanks. I just feel there's something missing here. Oh, there's a giant crater. Again, ooh, wait a minute. Look at this, there's two of them. There's a giant crater. Yeah, nothing underground here at all. This was just up here, bunkers. They started building this site in middle of 43, before the rockets were used, or the flying bombs, let's be somewhat correct in our description. And that was how the Germans did it. And we've been through this. They started building the platforms for new weapons before the new weapons were finished, which they did constantly. And then sometimes they had to be refurbished and reworked and redone because, well, the end product just changed enough that they would have to change the platform, which we see in the blockhouse, and you see it in La Coupole, and you see it in quite other weapons platforms. They started building the mainframe before it was actually done. KFC, not C. Work with me. Whoops, hang on. There's your damn map on this place. Oh, wait a minute. So, 1, 2, 3. 333. There, down here, there's the parking. So that's the one we saw. And then there's these two. All right. You know what? I am going to go there. And so I have something new to show you for the episode. 6, KFC. KFC. What is down here? There's nothing on the map down here. Well, Normandy for the 75th in 2019. Well, guys, girls, I am going to call this fantastic visit a fantastic visit, and I'm going to move on to my hotel, which I have no idea where it is. It's funny, you really do feel that there's a bit of stuff going on in the world because everything is twice the price it was just 6 months ago. But that is all right because we have to document some of these sites. And seriously, some of the places we're going to go, I'm going to show you this autumn, like the tunnels under Hitler's headquarters. That's going to be awesome. And we found some things in adjacent to the Riese sites in Poland that's kind of mind-blowing. Problem is, of course it's a piece of land you can't just dig, but we have a LiDAR scan of it, and holy hell. And the thing I wanted to do at Kummersdorf, you know, those of you who watch what I do, the thing that I needed to go test, well, I did, but I can only show you that on my Patreon because I put that public. Then, well, you know, we're back to that whole bail money thing again. But oh, and here's another tall boy. But I promise, even though I've been quiet for a little while, I'll get you a chance to catch up. It'll be an interesting autumn. So on that lovely note, I am going to go away, get back in the car, and hopefully in the next couple of days, next 2-3 days, we'll do something live from Normandy, from the beaches, and I'll do something live with Roger and myself. You know we're going to have to do that. And I'll see you all soon. Hope you enjoyed the little tour. Best I can do while I'm taking the rock show on the road. And I will see you and chat with you all soon. Take care, you guys, and toodles.